in a quiet village, hidden among high mountains and dense forests, there lived a boy named Fiery Heart. His heart was special. It burned with a bright flame that gave warmth and light to everyone around him. But this fire was not only a source of joy and strength. It often led to difficulties. Despite his strength, Fiery Heart often felt lonely. He dreamed of finding a true friend who would understand him and appreciate him for who he was. One morning, as the sun was just beginning to illuminate the tops of the trees, Fiery Heart decided to take a walk in the forest. The dense foliage whispered tales of forgotten times when the forest was full of magic. Suddenly he noticed a bright light ahead, breaking through the leaves, as if calling him closer. This light came from an ancient temple long forgotten by the villagers. Filled with curiosity, Fiery Heart cautiously entered the temple. Inside it was quiet, and only the flickering of the lights on the walls illuminated the dimness. The walls of the temple were adorned with ancient symbols that seemed to tell a story of great friendship and a fire that not only warms, but also unites hearts. As he approached one of the paintings depicting a heart engulfed in flames, a small fiery creature suddenly flew out of it. The creature, sparkling with bright sparks, circled around Fiery Heart, and in a soft yet anxious voice said to him, "Help me. I come from a distant world of fire, but I don't know what friendship is. In my world, everyone is just as hot-tempered and fiery as I am. But I want to find someone who will teach me how to be a friend." Understanding that this was his chance to find a friend and share his warmth, Fiery Heart smiled and said, "I will help you. Together, we will find the Stone of Friendship, a sacred artifact that will show us what it means to be a true friend." They ventured deep into the forest, following ancient paths long forgotten by people. The forest seemed alive. The trees whispered in an unknown language, and invisible creatures watched their every step. Soon they encountered their first challenge. Ahead was an old wooden bridge spanning a turbulent river. The bridge looked rickety, its planks cracked and worn by time. The flame, impatiently leading the way, unaware of the danger, quickly approached the bridge. But as soon as it touched one of the planks, the wood began to crack, and the bridge started to collapse. Panicking, the flame began to flit about, further intensifying the destruction. "Stop!" Fiery Heart shouted, realizing the danger. He felt his heart start to blaze with excitement, but he knew that if he didn't calm down, everything would go wrong. Fiery Heart focused, trying to direct his fire inward. His breathing slowed, and the flame inside him gradually subsided to a soft warmth. He looked at the flame and said, "We must be more careful. In this world, our fire can be destructive. But if we work together and control ourselves, we can overcome any obstacle." They decided to go around the river, where they found a safe place to cross. Along the way, the flame realized that being a friend is not just about sharing joy, but also about being attentive to the needs and weaknesses of others. The next challenge was a dense forest, where the trees stood so close together that sunlight barely penetrated the foliage. The flame, trying to light the way, accidentally brushed against one of the trees, and its leaves began to smolder. The forest immediately responded, filling the air with the smell of smoke and alarm. "Wait," Fiery Heart said, once again calming his inner flame. "If we continue like this, the forest will catch fire, and we won't be able to find our way further." He took a deep breath, trying to calm the heat rising in his chest. The flame, seeing his efforts, also began to dim its brightness until their fire became soft, almost imperceptible, just enough to light the path ahead. The forest accepted their caution, and the trees parted, opening the way. Fiery Heart realized that their joint efforts were bearing fruit, and this teamwork was strengthening their bond. Finally, after a long journey, they reached a cave where, according to legend, the Stone of Friendship was hidden. The cave was dark and cold, but inside there was a sense of peace and tranquility. The flame, illuminating the walls, showed the way to the center of the cave, where on a pedestal lay the Stone of Friendship, large, smooth, and glowing with a soft green light. Fiery Heart and the flame simultaneously touched the stone, and suddenly images began to flash before their eyes. They were together, facing new challenges, but always supporting each other. The stone showed them that friendship is not just the joy of shared adventures, but also the willingness to help in difficult times, caring for a friend, and the ability to share what is most precious. When the vision faded, the flame turned to Fiery Heart and said, "Now I understand what friendship is. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I promise to be a true friend to you and always be by your side." They returned to the village, and Fiery Heart felt that his heart had become even warmer. He knew he had found a true friend and was ready for new adventures that they would face together.